You are listening to a Harbinger Studios podcast.
Hello and welcome back to Creator Conversations. This is a podcast where I interview streamers and other creators about what they do, why they do it, and much more. If any of you don't know me, I am T-Rex or Troy, and I stream at twitch.tv/T-Rex. That's TWRECKX_. This week is going to be a little different. We do not have a guest. I'm flying solo and going over my top 10 tips for beginning streamers. This is me testing something new. As I am by myself, this will result in a shorter episode, and if you like this kind of shorter, more freeform content, let me know. This is something I've wanted to try for a while, and if you like it, I can do more of it. This podcast is bi-weekly, and I will try to keep up with that schedule to the best of my ability. If you have any recommendations for creators you would like to see on the podcast, tweet us at CreatorConvoPod on Twitter. If you enjoy the podcast, we ask you to tell one friend who you would think would get some enjoyment or interest in this. If you tweet at us, we'll mention you on the show. Thank you all for listening, and let's get into my top 10 tips for beginning streamers. Before we begin, I'd like to preface a couple things. I've been streaming for almost 2 years with moderate success, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. There are obviously individuals who can find success without some or any of these tips. These are general guidelines that will help, but by no means will they guarantee any success on whatever platform you choose to stream on. And these are my opinions and the things I try to constantly improve upon myself. My first tip for you is going to be good audio. Good audio is important because it's obviously what people hear on stream. And lots of people will downsize a stream and have it going in the background, and they want to be able to hear you. Streaming is also a little bit like a radio show. And obviously for a radio show, you would want really good audio. Nothing is worse than when you go into a stream and like everything looks good. Even their gameplay might be good, but like they sound like crap. Like they might have a super cheap like headset microphone or like a webcam microphone, or in Discord, it could be a terrible audio. There's nothing more frustrating than terrible audio. I think the first step to a great stream is good audio. And there are some pretty simple ways to improve your audio. First is a decent microphone. There are lots of microphones that are budget friendly. I have a list here of some microphones that may be in the wheelhouse. They're all around $100. I would say they're from like the $85 to $115 range, and these are going to be worth the money. I think $85 to $100 is a great investment for a stream. If you're going to spend a hunk of change on anything, I would say it should be a microphone. So you have a couple options for microphones. There are USB microphones and there are XLR microphones. If you go the XLR route, you're going to need an audio interface, which is going to cost you a little more money. So maybe go USB at first if you're trying to save some money. And honestly, if you get a good USB microphone, it would be hard to tell the difference, but I would prefer XLR, in my opinion. An audio interface or a mixer just provides more control over certain things with hardware, and you don't have to fiddle with all kinds of like digital cables or any kind of like just crazy stuff that you can do on a computer. I just like having that hardware and my preamps built into my mixer and all that jazz. But some good USB microphones are going to be like the Blue Yeti or the Blue Yeti Nano. Both of those are pretty cheap and affordable. It's what everyone kind of uses at the start as a stream. Yeah, I'm sure if you're here, you're probably familiar with Blue Yetis. Another good option is the Audio-Technica route. So Audio-Technica has a couple USB microphones that are pretty solid. The ATR 2100X is a pretty solid microphone. I believe it's pretty new. They used to have a different one that they changed to the 2100X. It's a good microphone. It's going to look like a classic microphone. It's a dynamic microphone. It's a good microphone. And then your other option is the AT2020 USB, which is going to cost you a little more money. I think that would be like probably like 120 to 130. The AT2020 comes in an XLR version. It's a condenser microphone. That was the mic that I started with. I had an audio interface and I was using the condenser mic. I've now changed to a dynamic microphone, but if you want to know the differences between a dynamic microphone and a condenser microphone, I would look that up on like YouTube or some other place. There's so many little intricacies to microphones and audio that I don't have the time to explain it all here for you today. So those are some good XLR microphones and some good USB microphones that you could look up on Amazon or whatever and find them around the $100 range. Another microphone I'd like to mention is the SM58 in the XLR range. This is a industry standard microphone. It's tried and true. Everyone has this microphone. It's a dynamic microphone. It's a great microphone. It will do everything you need it to, and you can use it outside of streaming for any recording purposes. It can take a beating. It's a great microphone. The next thing I'd like to talk about in the audio category is going to be plugins. OBS is great because it allows for a lot of like modularity and outside plugins and stuff. And they have implemented VST2, so you can put in audio effects. And these Reaper plugins are a great way to do that because they're free online. If you just look up Reaper plugins or Replugs, they'll come up and you can find some YouTube videos on them. And they will do a couple things. The ones that are probably the most important are going to be a compressor, an EQ, and a gate. All of those are great. They all do different things. I don't want to totally give a very complicated audio course here, but if you look those up and you learn how to use them in OBS, you will be ahead of others in the audio game. And one more pretty easy thing that I would like to mention in the audio category is going to be auto ducking. So this is not hard to set up. It will take you 10 minutes and it is so nice, in my opinion. I really like it. Some people might not, but I think it's crazy nice. So if you have two audio sources, one of them is your microphone and one of them is your computer audio or your whatever console you're playing on. So let's say you're playing Call of Duty on your computer and also talking, right? So you have two audio tracks. One of them is a microphone, one of them is the game. The game obviously has your guns firing and your microphone obviously has you talking. You can set up auto ducking so that when you talk, it will lower the overall level of your other input. So when I talk, my guns firing in the background are going to get quieter. When I stop talking, they're going to go back to their regular level. I think this is a great way to improve your stream. It makes sure that people can hear you. I don't know how many times I've gone into a stream and the audio levels have been messed up and somebody's game is way too loud. Like I can't even hear them talk. So when you're using auto ducking and your microphone automatically lowers your game volume and game sound, it makes you sound so much better. Also, if you have music playing in the background, you can make that auto duck as well, so that when you talk, your music is quieter. It's just a very nice little thing you can do to improve your stream. My next tip is going to be that streaming can absolutely be done on a budget. There are so many tools to help you do this. Obviously, getting started is going to cost some money. If you don't have a computer, you're going to have to buy a computer, and that's going to be a pretty big overhead cost. But I will say that technology today is amazing. You can buy a fairly cheap computer, a fairly cheap processor, a fairly cheap graphics card, and have a decent streaming rig for like $500. That's crazy. Or there are even ways to get around that. If you have a console and you have a laptop and you have a decent internet connection, you can make it happen. It might not look great. It might be a little framey. You'll encounter some problems and it'll be hard to do. But if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. But in terms of once you have your setup, like you have a computer, you have your monitors, you have a decent microphone, those are all the overhead, right? So once you have that paid for, you can stream. Like that's done. And I would say you can do that for $600 to $800. Maybe even cheaper if you really go for it. But everything else after that can be done for free if you really want it to. Photoshop and After Effects both have alternatives that are free. Photoshop has GIMP. After Effects has a couple. I would look into them because people use After Effects for different things. I don't know too many alternatives to After Effects myself, but I know they're there. I just use After Effects. And if you're in college, there are lots of promotions. I mean, I know the Adobe Suite will give you a discount for being a student, but some schools give it to you for free. OBS is an amazing tool. It is. We are so lucky to get OBS for free. It is a crazy program that can do insane amounts of work for you, and it's totally free. This is something that we need to appreciate and be happy about because this kind of program and technology is not typically free. It's a great program. I would say stay away from Streamlabs OBS and use OBS. Streamlabs OBS has a lot of like implementation of like, I don't know, your alerts and like a merch store, and like they have built-in overlays. And if that's what you want, like know what you're getting into before you do it. But if that's what you want, go do it. It's Streamlabs OBS, that's fine. But I would highly recommend OBS. I think handmade overlays look way better than the pre-built ones. And even like go to Nerd or Die. Like those aren't handmade, but they are way better than anything that's over on Streamlabs OBS, in my opinion. The Nerd or Die stuff, it will cost you a small amount of money to get some of those overlays, but they look really good. Or you can just make them yourself. Like if you don't have Photoshop, you can use GIMP. If you don't have After Effects, you can use the alternatives there, and you can take the time to learn them yourself. There are so many resources out there on YouTube that will teach you how to do these things. YouTube will teach you how to make a logo or transitions or banners or any kind of art you need for your channel. You can learn how to make it on YouTube or at somewhere else on the internet. Like there are so many resources that will help you do these things for free, and it will make you a better streamer. It will teach you skills that you can use outside of streaming in terms of graphic design or video editing. Another thing that a lot of streamers use that is going to be kind of hard to use on a budget is going to be the Stream Deck. A macro board will allow you to do a lot of different things and a lot of fancy things on your stream. Some people don't use a whole bunch of like crazy transitions and stuff, and that's totally fine. Like there are totally different ways to do streaming, and if there wasn't, streaming would be a boring place. But your Stream Deck, you have the Stream Deck Mini. I would say avoid that. I would say if you really want a Stream Deck, get the regular sized one when you can afford it. But they have an app that is much cheaper to use, and you can just control that from your phone. You could get a macro board and do macros yourself. It's not going to have the super nice program that Elgato has for their Stream Deck, but it's doable with a macro board. And you can even use an old keyboard as a macro board, which is free. It's gonna have a little bit of a learning curve. You're gonna struggle to understand how to do that at first if you've never done it before, but you will get the hang of it with the help of like YouTube or any other resource. And there's also a resource I believe called Touch Portal. I don't know too much about it. I've heard the free version isn't great, but I think it's usable. But there are alternatives, and I know that there are people on YouTube who will help you if you want to find some Elgato Stream Deck alternatives. My third tip for you is going to be work on your commentary. So you can have a beautiful stream, but that's not going to save bad commentary. But great commentary can save an ugly stream. So like someone who is really, really good at talking and really good at interacting with chat and really good at keeping people entertained, that's going to save a world of problems. It's going to help you so much. So work on your commentary. Lots of people think that this is something that you just have, like you're just good at speaking. And in some cases that's true. Some people are just good at it. But it absolutely is something you can work on. Look up some public speaking tips. Look to people who you respect in the streaming community and people that you think are entertaining. Think about what they do and try to use that. Don't try to be the same streamer, but you can use tools that other people use at the beginning. I mean, it's just like art of any kind. Musicians, obviously, a lot of beginning musicians learn how to play other people's songs until they find their style. Use other streamers' styles until you can find your own. That's okay. Obviously, don't do everything exactly the same, but take tips from them and take the way they do things that you like and use them to your advantage. That's totally okay. And go back and watch your own streams. If you don't think you're entertaining, start changing some things. Think about the words you say too much and try to cut those out. Good commentary can be worked on and it can be improved. My next tip, this is going to be number 4, is going to be make friends. Some people would call this networking. I don't like to think of it as networking. Networking makes me think that I'm in business school and I'm trying to become the CEO of a company by being a slimy, I don't know, man. I don't like it. I don't like it personally. But if that's how you want to think about it, that's how you want to think about it. That's fine. I think about it as making friends. There are so many like-minded people on Twitch that literally are doing exactly what you're doing. It's not going to be that hard to find some common ground to talk to them with. Go into other people's streams and talk to them and become friends with them and obviously like their stuff. Like, don't do this with people that you obviously are not enjoying. Like, go and make friends with people that you want to make friends with. This isn't a business move. It's not networking. This is making friends, and having friends in this community is gonna help so much. They're gonna come into your stream and they're gonna talk to you. Having someone in chat is so important. Making friends is just a very good way to expand your community and expand their community, and it's just some of what makes streaming great. There are so many people out there doing similar things to you and making similar content, even if they're playing the same game. Obviously, there's a lot of people making content that's very different from you. Like, you could go make friends with, I don't know, like a art streamer when you play only FPS games, and that might not translate too much in terms of similar viewership. But that doesn't mean you can't be friends with these people. You can be friends with them on Twitter. You can talk to them about the ins and outs of streaming and what's different about art versus first-person shooter streaming. There's so many different avenues of streaming that can be common ground. But if you find people that are in the same vein as you, you can build some communities and friends, and that will work wonders for you. But I would say to never expect anything from anyone on Twitch. You can have friends, but that doesn't mean that they are going to be what makes you grow. The only thing that can make you grow is yourself. Friends can help build a community, but growth is going to come from having a quality stream. Don't expect your friends to bail you out. Okay, this is going to lead into my 5th point here. Have a community before you begin streaming. This is going to help you so much. If you are a member of anyone else's community, if people recognize you there, if you're friends with people, tell them you're going to start streaming. Be like, hey guys, I'm thinking I'm going to start streaming, and I would love if you guys could support me in the beginning. Like, having anyone in chat makes streaming 10 times easier because you don't have to sit there and talk to yourself. There's someone to talk to, even if it's just one person. Tell your friends that are not necessarily members of another community or a streaming community. Tell your friends in real life. Tell your friends that you've made on the internet somewhere else. Be like, hey, I'm thinking about streaming and I want to be serious about it. And if you guys could support me, I would really appreciate that. That doesn't mean that they are going to like be your number one cheerleader. Like, you can't expect that from anyone. But if they come to a stream and even if they're there for 20 minutes and they talk to you, that is going to be what keeps you going. Because if you start streaming and no one knows you're doing it, you're going to be talking to 0 viewers for a long time, and it's going to be hard. So just try and get someone there. Just be nice and ask your friends that you've made in communities or in life, and just ask them to pop in and talk to you a little bit. It will help a lot. Tip number 6. This one could possibly be the most important tip that I'm going to give you today. Be consistent. Have a schedule and stick to it. You can obviously change your schedule every once in a while if you need to, but like have a schedule and use it. Don't make it too complex. I've seen some people make some crazy weird schedules that I don't know how to follow. But if you're there 3 days a week at the same time on those 3 days, people will come back. They will know what time you're streaming and they will come back. Obviously make it easy for them to know when you're streaming. Have your schedule in your bio. Have your schedule in your Discord. Talk about it at your beginning of the stream and talk about it at that end of the stream. Let people know that you're going to be back. And at what times. I would say that consistency is far more important than time on stream. Like you could stream 8 hours or 20, 30 hours in a week and have it be inconsistent, like stream Monday and Thursday morning, but also Tuesday and Saturday night, but the next week do something totally different. That's going to be messy. Obviously, time live on Twitch is going to be beneficial to you, but I would say if it's between having a consistent schedule that has less hours or having an inconsistent schedule that has more hours, I would say go with the consistent schedule that has less hours every time. Tip number 7. This is going to be a more abstract, intangible tip, but it is to take risks. Taking risks could mean many things in terms of content creation. But in my mind, I think risks are originality, and risks obviously reap rewards. Sometimes they might not work out for you, but that's okay. And when I talk about risks, I mean anything that's outside of your comfort zone in terms of content creation. If you want to do a stream where you play Super Meat Boy with your feet, that's a risk, but it might be dope. If you want to do a cooking stream or VR stream, that is something new and it might not go well at first, but if you like it and you're passionate about it and you want to take the risk in trying to dive into some new content, that is obviously a risk. But it could also be much smaller than that. Like if you just want to stream on one extra day, take that risk. If you want to stream on one less day because it will be better for your mental health, obviously take that risk. I guess when I say taking risks, I just mean don't be afraid to change things and go outside of your comfort zone. Don't get so comfortable in the schedule that you have, or not necessarily schedule, but in the patterns in life that you have, that you don't want to change anything. I think change encourages growth and encourages originality in terms of content creation. And I think that change or risks is a great thing. Try new things. You never know what could come of it. Like if you make one video about, the health benefits of eating toe jam, it could blow up. You never know. Just try new things and experience new things, and don't get too comfortable in what you're doing. New skills are always great. If you're venturing into another corner of content creation and you're learning about how Photoshop works or After Effects or just trying new things, those are skills that you'll have forever. Or like cooking streams, you'll learn how to cook, or do art streams, you'll get better at art. Like all of these are still skills that you can use in the future. And if it doesn't work, if these risks you take don't work out to be beneficial for you, at least you learned. You learned what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And you may have even learned some new skills in the process. So even if you fail at taking some risks, you still gain knowledge and skills overall. Number 8, boys. Be on all platforms and you'll use all tools at your disposal. Okay, this one's important in my mind. There are many platforms and many tools to use in tandem with streaming. And when I talk about that, I do not mean streaming to multiple platforms. Do not stream on Twitch, Mixer, and Facebook Gaming. Pick one and stick to it. Don't double dip. Don't do that. Just pick one. It will be more beneficial for you in the end. When I say platforms, I mean Social media platforms and like YouTube and Discord. So be on Twitter, be on Instagram, be on Facebook, maybe. I mean, if you have time to be on Facebook, obviously be on Facebook. Be on Twitter, be on Instagram, be on Facebook in terms of social media, and then use all other tools that you have at your disposal. Freaking TikTok, be on TikTok. Use Discord to your advantage. Be on Discord. Make a Discord for you community. That is such a great way to build your community and like build friendships within your community. Make your Discord a little more original to whatever you're doing and what you're passionate about, and others will come and you'll find other people that are passionate about those same things. Don't have the same Discord that everyone else has. Do these things, but do them well. This is complicated, in my opinion. Don't go on Twitter. Don't make a Twitter to just post going live tweets. Like, use Twitter the way it's intended to be used. There are so many ins and outs of these platforms that you could spend hours and hours and hours studying every one of them. But do them with some gusto and some heart. Don't go on Twitter and Instagram and only post when you're going live. No one's going to want to follow you. What's the point? I don't want to follow people that only post those things. I want to follow people that are making content on any of those platforms that I respect. So use Instagram in tandem with streaming, but make that content on Instagram applicable to Instagram's content. Make your Twitter content applicable to Twitter. Talk on Twitter about how your day is, your crazy thoughts, your weird, funny thoughts, not just going live tweets. You can post videos to Twitter. You can make friends on Twitter and grow a community on Twitter. Instagram, you can post pictures of anything you want, but do it well. Like, don't just use these platforms for dumping your going live tweets and going live link garbage. Use them the way they're intended, and it may be beneficial for you. It's a lot of work to be on all those platforms and be original and using them to your advantage, but it can be beneficial. So do it, but don't do it if you're going to do it bad. Do it, but do it well. Tip number 9. You are never, ever, ever done improving. None of these things will you ever be able to check off of a list. Every one of these tips you can go back to and improve upon again. Once you improve a little in any of these 10 areas, you can go back and improve a little more. Once you buy a microphone, you can make a little bit of money on whatever platform you have. You can make a little bit of dough. Go back and buy a better microphone if you think that's where your money is going to be well used. You can go and learn more about whatever platform you're on. You can go and learn more about any program you're using. OBS. You can do crazy cool things in OBS, and I'm constantly learning. You can go and learn about After Effects or Photoshop or whatever alternative you're using. You can always be taking risks. You can always be more consistent. You can always grow your community and make friends. You can always be working on your commentary. All of these things are things that you can improve upon forever. Okay, my last and final tip here. Tip number 10, do it for fun. This list is going to be geared more towards people who want to do this full time, but it can also be used by people who are doing this for fun or as a hobby. But this one especially is geared towards the crowd of people who want to do it full time. If you are not having fun doing this, there is no point in doing it. You are not getting that many life skills out of this. If you are going to put 20 to 30 hours a week into doing this, you have to want it. It's a new thing in the world. Content creators, if you think it's worth doing, then you're going to have to want it because you're not investing in yourself like you would be in other uses of your time. You take 30 hours a week and you put it into bettering yourself in a career. You could be making much more headway in any other career than content creation. If you put 30 hours a week and put it towards university or college or school, you get a degree at the end and you can get hired with that degree. With this, you could put 4 years of 30 hours a week into this and still go nowhere. So if you're not having fun doing this, there's no point. You might get a little bit of graphic design or video and public speaking knowledge, but not enough to validate how much time and effort you're going to put into it. It's only worth working for if you really want it and it's something that you know you want to do. But if you are not having fun, don't do it. Just go do something else. Find other ways to invest in yourself and improve yourself. Obviously, if this is just as a hobby, you can do whatever you want whenever you want. You don't have to totally be consistent. If you're just streaming for yourself and no one else, that's totally fine. You don't have to follow any of these rules if you don't want to. But if you're trying to grow and you're trying to be successful at this, there are some things you should do to help you along with that process. Once again, this is only worth working for if you really want it, because you're not getting degrees. You're not getting like crazy life skills, and you are definitely not going to make much money if you do end up going full time, at least at first. Like, you will be struggling for money for a long time, unless you're an exception to these rules. But I will say about this, fun, in my opinion, is not an excuse for a bad quality stream. Your stream can always have a good quality. It's really not that difficult to have a decent quality stream, in my opinion. So having fun is not totally an excuse to have a garbage stream. You can improve things pretty easily right off the bat and have a decent stream. It's like the law of diminishing returns, right? The first hour you spend improving your stream is going to be more beneficial than the second hour you spend improving your stream. That first hour, you could have great audio and great transitions and great, a logo. You could have a great logo. But that second hour, you might just be clipping off the edges of your logo to make it a little cleaner. You might be using those effects or auto ducking in your OBS mixer to improve your stream quality, but it'll take just as much time as it did to get it originally set up, and lots of people aren't going to notice it. That first 10 hours of your time is going to improve your stream so much. There's no excuse for a bad quality stream, in my opinion. But if you are having fun doing this, others are going to see that and they're going to have fun as well. So whatever content you're making, make sure you're having fun doing it, because if you're not, it's not worth it. And people are going to see that you're not having fun, and they're not going to have fun either. I think that is it for my top 10 tips. I really appreciate everyone listening. You can find me at all the places, come back in 2 weeks. We'll probably have a guest. But if you enjoyed this, if you like this kind of content, me talking about one kind of topic or going over some things, let me know, because I could do more of these. I could throw them in as bonus episodes every once in a while. Maybe not on I could do if they're very liked, I could do them on the other weeks that we don't have a guest. This is just me taking a risk and trying some new content and trying some new stuff out, and I would love to know what you think about it. So shoot me a tweet on Twitter or pop into my stream and let me know what you thought about this episode, because it's a different thing for me to be creating, and I would love to know your thoughts. Come back in 2 weeks and I'll have another episode for you. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk to you next time. Goodbye.